Hello, hello, welcome in. Hello, hello. All right, welcome in, welcome in. We're gonna get started at 3:15. About 2 more minutes. All right. I'm not gonna wait any longer. We're gonna go ahead and get started. It's Friday, 3:14 Central Standard Time. Now 3:15 Central Standard Time, 4:15 Eastern Standard Time. We have about 44 minutes until market close. So I wanted to do my back testing since the market is about to close. So we entered this trade here on Thursday. And I moved my stop loss into profit here. Only caught 22 pips on this trade. Now, if I would have trusted the setup a little better and been fine with my stop loss, it was a 44 pip stop loss. It would have potential to go 232 pips. Excuse me, but if I was still holding, I would have pulled it here. So price shot up 144 pips. The 3-1 trade. Now, I haven't showed you guys the fib before because I didn't fully have the fib packed myself until recently. I told you I was going to go back and rewatch Jessica Lane's videos on the fib. And I rewatched some videos on the fib and I rewatched some videos on the structure because I have her course. And then I've watched like all of her videos on YouTube also. So between her, ICT, and then my mentor Tracy, who taught me ICT, I've combined all of what they've taught me plus CRT zone, excuse me. But I'm going to take away the 50% on the CRT zone and just use the weekly high and the weekly low. But we're gonna go ahead and delete this chart. Remove all my lock drawing. And I'm gonna back test GJ on the 1 hour. We're gonna do GJ for a few, and then I want to do Go because I'm not gonna be on here all night. I have somewhere to be at 6, so I want to back test, and I'm only gonna back test on the hourly, and then next week when market opens on Sunday, we'll do our full markup. And if you don't know, starting well, I started this week. What was it, Wednesday? I started going live on YouTube, just leaving the live running. I wanted to do that here on TikTok, but I can't. TikTok won't let me leave it running if I'm not active. So after like an hour of inactivity, it stops it, and I have stuff to do. So YouTube just lets me run it. So I'm live. Market open Sunday, so market closed Friday. Obviously, I'm not live right now. I went ahead and turned the live off before I started this live. And I'm just moving. I'm just going back to some random area to back test. I'll just stop here. Okay. So, just starting here, right? When you come to a chart, we just want to grab off our last structure points, okay? Our structure points is really what you need to be paying attention to. So this, and we're only going to do this on the hourly for today, but we'll start working our way down to the 30, the 15, and the 1 minute, but you need to be able to identify major structures, so 4 hour, hourly, daily, before you go down further. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so we are going to mark our structure points. So this is where price ended. So this is just our last high, right? This is how the chart will look if you come to the chart on Sunday, right? So this is our last high. So this was our previous higher high, and this is the higher low. So these are our structure points that we want to mark off. Okay. We don't want to mark this one off because it has not yet been confirmed as a structure point. It's confirmed when price retests the break of structure and then continues higher. Okay. All right, and BOS is break of structure. All right, now we want to see price come back into the break of structure, right? Or we wanted to see it come and break this structure. So it's either going to retest this one in order to be valid to buy, to continue the buys, or it's going to break this one, retest, and sell. Okay, if price reverses and comes underneath, then this is what you will call a run on liquidity. Okay, but we'll go deeper when we get into that part. All right, so we're gonna replay it. I think I'm at 0.3 speed. That should be good enough. Okay, let's pause it. This had to be a news day. It's Friday, September 27th in 2024. It had to be a news day the way this is volume, right? But this is why we don't buy yet. What got me into trading? The money. And then I just fell in the love of watching these candlesticks. Okay, so remember we was waiting for a break of structure. Well, we got a break of structure. We was waiting for a retest. Then price came and violently smashed through this other structure. So this is why we wait on our retest before we enter, because a lot of times somebody would have saw this, we had a pullback, and then they're thinking that price is going to continue. So this has now become a run on liquidity. Price broke our last high, and then it violently came through, broke the structure, and left us a fair value gap. This is a huge fair value gap. Okay. Sometimes 50% of these get filled. Sometimes the full imbalance gets filled. They call it imbalance fill, and that's when price trades all the way back up and completes this wick here. And that means that it just filled in the whole gap. Sometimes it comes to 50%, and then sometimes it doesn't fully come into 50%. All right, so now what we want to see is price eventually pull back for an entry and to confirm still that price is bearish. All right, so now we can also use our fib because this was our impulsive move that broke our structure. And here on our fib, right? And here on our fib, right? This was our first. This was our first push, this full move. And then you started to see some opposite color candlesticks. This was a small pullback here, right? Price pulled back to the 23.6. That means that price isn't done selling. So we're still going to continue to see price push down some more. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. My cousin is booking our trip to Miami and she's texting me. Okay, so I paused it because I wanted to measure this retracement. So remember, this was our first push. We saw some black candles, price is retracing. It moved to the 23.6, which lets you know that price isn't done on its impulsive move. Okay, so we're looking for impulse, correction, continuation. So now I'm going to move my 0 on my fib to my next low right here, which started my pullback. We technically haven't touched the 23.6 yet, so let's just see what happens here. If I had a 9 to 5, it's 328. I'd be at work. I'm at home. I'm always at home. I love it here. All right. So 23.6, we got another low here. So now we pull our bottom of our fib here. And now let's see how far price pulls back. All right, so remember, I would ideally like to see it come back to 50% of that gap for our structure. This is back testing. Market is about to close in 30 minutes. I already showed the GJ win and then I cleared my chart, so we're back testing. If you want to see the GJ win, you can go over to YouTube, and today's session is on there and yesterday's session. Thanks for joining, Miko. All right, so almost to our 50% and almost to 61.8 on the fib. Oop, pause. Okay. Wait a minute. It happened so fast, right? Although these are hourly candles. Okay. We got... Is it not pausing? Why are you playing with me? Okay. Price didn't hit our full 50% of our fair value gap. It didn't hit 61.8 on the fib either, but it did come near the 50%, which is one of our retracement areas. Okay, so we'd like to see price pull back to the 50, the 618, and it can pull all the way back to the 100% and still be a down move. If it breaks the 100%, then that means price is bullish. Okay, so for the ones that just came in, we started back testing, and we started here. You couldn't see any of this. Okay, and initially we just marked up our 2 structure points, and we marked BOS for break of structure. So we're waiting for price to break structure and either come back and retest this area or come back and retest this area. So as you can see, price broke structure, but it never gave a retest. It gave an extremely impulsive candle. Okay, coming through and breaking structure to the other side. Now we were waiting on a pullback for our entry because this has officially become our impulsive move. Now this is our correction, our pullback, and we were looking for our entry on the continuation. So you see the price already started to move down. I wanted to see price come back to 50% of this fair value gap here, which is this purple line. It didn't. It didn't come back to 618. It came back to the 50, and it gave us our candlestick pattern that we want to see, which is an evening star if you're selling and a morning star if you're buying. This is an evening star. You have a bearish candle, a doji, and a bearish candle. I'm sorry, it should be bullish candle, doji, bearish candle. So this isn't an evening star. This is the evening start. Bullish, doji, bearish candle, although it's still in it somewhat in a doji form. Okay. So it never gave me confirmation, but we got these impulsive candles. This would be our confirmation here. Price came back to this fair value gap and touched 50%. So this would have been the entry. Stop loss here. Now, the thing about, well, TP, since it came back to the 50, would be the 27 on the fib. But the thing about this is, I don't like that price came so close to the 50% that this could be inducement. But GJ is impulsive. Price may not come back. I would rather risk this 52 pips, right? It's a 7 to 7. Stop loss is 52 pips. Take profit is 404 pips. I would rather risk this 52 pips and catch the move, right? Then if price hits stop loss and come up, then I just readjust, right? Look for my entry here, and then stop loss will be above your entry. And then depending on if price did pull back to the 618, take profit would be at the 618. So you recover that plus some. Okay. But let's see what plays out here. Is this inducement where price is going to come up, or is this our fib playing out? I'm trying to keep it off of replay, okay? So was this our true impulsive move, correction, and then continuation? Okay, so we were getting some kind of exhaustion candlesticks here. So if we look at the difference of these candlesticks, you see how these are nice full candlesticks, a little wick to the bottom, very little wick at the top. This was a lot of volume, right? The fuller bodied candles, the more volume there is in the market, and then the more decision and less indecision, right? So going down, we got full candles, and then we got a few dojis. Price was indecisive, and then it gave us a little pullback into this gap here, and then it pushed down hard. Now it pushed down aggressively into this fair value gap, right? I'll show you that. Gonna bring my drawings back. Now, see the fair value gap and the 50%, and you see how, can I just hide this? I'll delete it. Okay, so you see how this what gave an impulsive move down. It hit that 50% of the fair value gap, and then it pushed back up. Then it started to come a little higher, and then it pushed back down, right? It couldn't stand, so it rejected it again. It came near, didn't even touch it, tried to reject it again, but these candlesticks are getting lower and lower. All right, so this is an engulfing candle. I'll delete that for now. If you look at these two candlesticks right here, this is the high of that candlestick, and this is the low of that candlestick. When price completely runs the high and the low of a candlestick, that is an engulfing candlestick. This is also a pin bar candlestick. Price came down back to this area. Remember, over in this area, we had our fair value gap, right? And this is the fair value gap. Price tried and still tried to close below this area. It couldn't close below that area, right? It came all the way down here and then swept and it closed all the way up here. Whoever was down here at the bottom, it took all of their money. This one candlestick was 100 pips. My pink candlesticks are sellers. My black candlesticks are the buyers in the market. Okay. All right. So price came all the way down here and then closed up here. So it's definitely telling us that price is trying to reverse. Now at this point, is it a reversal to come back and touch our 50, or is it just coming back into this area and then coming lower? Remember, our TP is here. I don't want to put that the tool back on there. All right. It came back into our fair value gap, and it gave us well, this isn't an engulfing candle because it didn't take both sides, but it did give us an impulsive down candle, right? Price came here and it closed here, so it's pretty clear that sellers are in the market. And then the buyers came. Let's see if this is a retest. Is price going to reject this area, or is it going to trade through it? Okay. Price traded through it. This candlestick pattern right here officially became a morning star. We got our bearish candle, our doji, and our bullish candle. Price came through it and it retested it when it touched here to let us know that it was going higher. So now it's Tuesday in the market. This was Thursday. This was Friday, which is why we got that very little movement. And then this was Monday. Right, this was Tuesday. So now I'm looking at this and I want to know, this is just back testing. We're all the way in 2024. The weekly live is on YouTube. So the whole live session from Wednesday is on YouTube. So I'm not going to do a weekly replay. You can just go back and watch that as the weekly replay. All right. So now let me run my thought back. This was Friday. This happened Friday in the market. Sunday, Monday, we got this impulsive move here, which is what I would believe would be my correction, since price needs to come and fill in this gap, right? But now we got a higher low instead of a lower low, right? Because I want to see price move down. So now I have to question, is price moving up? I want to see if price is going to break and retest this area to see if it's going to go bullish, or is it just coming back, like I said, and going to touch our 61.8 and our 50% of our fair value gap and fill it. So now we're just letting it play. YouTube is the link is in the bio. You just click my bio and then my YouTube link is there. All right, and then we also have a fair value gap here, and price completely impulsively moved through that, letting you know it's got somewhere to go. Because remember how these candles look compared to these candles over here. All right. Now, remember we got our impulse here from last week. And since I had to look at the day we was on, because I'm working on a theory that the market changes direction. So this happened Friday. Sunday, it looked like it was a pullback, but this probably ended up being our impulsive move. So now I want to delete this fib, and I want this fib. So this happened Monday, this happened Tuesday, it gave an entry on Tuesday. Yeah, price hit the 618, and then that fib will be completed. But then if price hits the 618 and it comes into this order block here, let's see if now, right, if this fib will finish. And I'm just drawing from here to here, okay? So first, I want to see price come to the 618 into this order block. It's the last up move before this down move. And then remember, I said a fib isn't finished, or not finished, but it's no longer valid if price trades through it, right? It becomes another structure point, and then you look for price to retest it and take it higher. So technically we got our impulsive move, and then we got a correction, but we did not get a lower low for a continuation. We got a lower high, right? So now we flipped our fib, because this became the impulsive move for the week. This became the correction. This became the continuation. Now price, I want to see price hit the 618 and reverse and finish this fib, if that makes sense. Okay? Hopefully that was a good explanation. All right, so I'm going to move the overall fib, which is this point to this point. Okay? The overall fib, this point to this point. I'm removing that one. And now we're paying attention to the internal structure fib, which is this last low and this higher low. Okay? And we want to see price come up and make equal highs. But let's see what happens. So we got reaction here. This is an inversion fair value gap right here. Right here. These 3 candles, 1, 2, 3. Price left that open space there. I can zoom in a little more because I remember somebody else said they were having troubles with gaps. These are gaps, right? And once price trades through it, it becomes an inversion for price to come back and retest, okay? So I didn't have that one marked, but it looks like price reacted from it. So I'm going to mark it up, and then we'll go back to current price. And you see right here, inversion fair value gap, price hit it, okay? And then it looks like it's giving us a pullback. And we know we want to see price hit the 618 for this internal structure fib to be completed. So this could just be a pullback to fill in some of these gaps. Now, either this is a pullback to fill in the gaps, or this is where it's stopping to finish that sell. But remember, I wanted to see it hit the 618. Let's see. This is Monday. This is Tuesday. This is Tuesday afternoon, going into Wednesday morning, Wednesday evening. Now, this move happened on Thursday. Yep, a lot of lines. If you were here from the beginning, you would have saw where the lines came from. Oh goodness, everybody's a critic. Everybody's a professional. All right, looks like price is reacting from this fair value gap. So now let's see if we can continue to the 618. All right, and that's our fib finishing. That impulsive movement, it should finish. Now we want to see if price is going to reverse from our order block and then finish this fib. Okay. Oh, I'm glad to know it hurt your brain. Work it out a little harder. All right, so impulse, correction, continuation, unless price does this, breaks it, right, and then retest and lets us know that it's going to go higher. All right, let's see. We come to this, back to this purple line here, right? Remember, this was our order block. Okay, but let's see if this 618 is going to get hit. But that's what this rejection was right here. It was 50% of this order block. See, they say a lot of lines, but when you know what your lines mean and what's on your chart, and you see how price is reacting, and you just watched how it reacted to these levels are important. The fib makes it look like it's a lot of lines, but your fib is your TP point. So when I'm doing this live, I just mark off, I just put a line there, I delete it, and then I do negative 61.8 fib, right? So that it is less lines. But for the visual purposes, so that you guys can learn, we're going to keep our fib up here. Remember, this was our new fib, trying to fill in this fib, okay? All right, so we should see rejection here at the 618. What day is this? This is Sunday. Let's see if the new week finishes it, or if we're moving straight into the down move. The beginning was slow. It picked up yesterday and today with GJ and Gold. All right. So it's now Monday, Tuesday. All right. So this is Friday. We got all this choppiness because the market was closing. Sunday, Monday, market's gearing up. It's now Tuesday, 2 p.m. Slow Tuesday. This trade took forever. TP is approaching. It's on 8 days. The beginning of non-farm was off, but Wednesday, Thursday, and then this morning, gold was great. I caught that sell on gold. Do I have a WhatsApp? No, but there's a free Discord. Link is in my bio. Okay, Okay, so at this point, I don't like that the 618 hasn't been hit yet. It's all the way Thursday. This right here was 1 week of consolidation. This is why you have to know where you are in the market. Friday, Sunday to Thursday. Price stayed right in this range. Right here. Alright, so I'm playing it out just for the sake of I want to see if this fib completes. Of course, as the week is going, you could be marking trend lines. This trend line right here. This was a fake trend line break. Trend lines are valid. I don't understand people who don't use trend lines. It's just as valid as a fair value gap, or order block, support and resistance. It's an area in the market where price respects, as you can definitely see, so that when price comes to that area, you won't be hesitant about holding your trade when you see all of this sideways movement. When you get a rejection and you're in a downtrend and you think price is going to go all the way down here, and then price just reversed on you, you're like, oh wow, why did price reverse? Because it hit a vertical stop in the market, because the market is trending and you want to be with the trend. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Trend line. You don't know how to draw it. It's just two touches in the market where you saw rejection. Okay, so price rejected, it bought up, brought down, rejected again, gave you a higher low. Price didn't break that area, brought up, rejected, gave you another higher low. So you need 2 points of rejection. You can draw a trend line here. You got several points of rejection. Every time price touched it, it rejected, and then it broke through it. All right, so I paused it because I saw that price finally hit freaking TP. Finally. So the entry was over here on a Tuesday. Remember, if we walk this back real quick, we was looking to see a propagation block, not a trend. I ain't never heard of that one. Baby, let me tell you something. You got to do what works for you. If that's what you believe it is, go right with it. I believe it's a trend line, and I'm going to keep it as that. Okay, so we started over here on our replay, right? We had these 3 impulsive candles. We marked off our break of structure. We marked off our 2 current structure points because none of this was here. All we had was these 3 lines. So break of structure, break of structure. We were waiting for price to break either side and confirm, right? So price broke up to the high and then impulsively broke structure down to the low, changing the trend, right? Because price was making higher highs, higher lows. Now, we got this impulsive move. Price started to do our continuation. This impulsive move happened on a Friday. Our continuation happened Sunday, Monday. Okay? So my theory is during the following week, it's not going to follow the trend before in the previous week. But as we continue to do the back testing, we will see if that's what the theory is. So price ended up breaking this structure here, right? Price ended up pulling back, and then we didn't get a full 50%, but we got a sell. Now on this sell, we did not get a lower low, which confirmed that price was deciding to make an inside higher high, because it's not higher than this one. Okay, so it came down to the fair value gap. Price tested it several times. Price rejected. We added our fib. All right. This was our first impulse. This was our correction. So our fib, the 100 goes at the bottom. This 0 goes at the top of the correction point. And price pulled back all the way to the 88.6, which showed us that we wanted to see price hit the 61.8, which we just watched all of this play out. Now, remember we said that we wanted to see price come up into this order block and then hit the 618 and reject to finish this overall trend, which was basically this impulsive move. So now we're waiting to see if price is going to break this high and continue, or is price going to reject this high and then continue lower and finish this fib. So we're going to watch what happens at the 618, and I'm going to delete this fib here because this fib has completed. I'm going to delete my other lines on my chart also, because now the only structure points that matter are this area here and this higher low that's leading me to this last higher high. Now remember, price was at the 618. And it is now Monday. So remember, I was saying that my theory from what I've been seeing is from week to week, the trend will change. So that happened on a Friday. This happened that full Sunday through Friday. Now this happened Sunday, Monday of the new week. So now what we're pretty much waiting on is another impulsive move to let price show us where it's going. It's Tuesday. And this could be another week to where it's a lot of sideways movement and we don't break out of this area. This is why you have to have more than one pair that you're watching. Alright, so this is Tuesday and we're getting a lot of internal structure movement, right? Because these are our major structure points. Okay, so now we got our impulsive move. Okay, so it's Wednesday, 2 a.m. And now we have our impulsive move down, and in our internal structure, right, price is making lower lows and lower highs, right? Overall, in major structure, price has not broken this high, but on internal structure, we're getting these small lower lows, lower highs. If price breaks this, then I want to see price go back to the downside. Let's do that. This is Wednesday. All right, so price has made this fair value gap, and it looks like we're getting our push up. So now we can do another internal structure fib since we know where we are. I don't want to extend this. Okay, and this will be our impulsive move. This will be our correction. All right, we want to see price come to 50% of this fair value gap, which would be great to get a reaction at the 618, because then remember our TP is the 618. These lives, TikTok records them and then I put them on my YouTube. So we started our beginner course. So there's a lot of stuff on the YouTube channel. The link is in the bio. Kai Zindo. All right. So I can't set a stop loss yet because my stop loss is going to be at the high of the wick rejection. But let's say I would like for the 618 to be my entry. I was at one point setting limits, and then sometimes this stuff wasn't reacting the way that I needed to sometimes, and I don't like drawdown. So what we're going to do is wait on our candlestick pattern to form at our zone, okay, which is 50% or the 618 or higher, because price could come back into the order block. Okay, real quick. So remember I said I was looking for reaction at my 50%. That's this purple line here. It's 50% of the fair value gap. Immediately price pushed up, and then you saw it wick away, right? And then it dropped down to here, and then price pulled up to here, and then touched it again, rejected. But I don't have my candlestick pattern. My confirmation candlestick pattern is well, actually I was gonna say an engulfing candle, and then I looked a little closer. This is an engulfing candle. Price ran the high and the low of this candle. I'm so used to using my morning and evening stars. I'm trying to get used to my engulfing candle. So I have to run the high and the low in order to have engulfed the candle. Okay, so now we have an engulfing candle. I'll use my rectangle, and I want to see price come back to 50% of this candle to let me end the trade. And then we can do stop loss above this wick. Price pull back to the 618. TP at the 618. Now the only thing, what is this? This is Wednesday. The only thing about this is, remember we're still in this overall fib. Right? This was the order block here. That price touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Now it looks like price is starting to create a downtrend, right? And we want to see price come all the way down here now, if this fib is correct. But for now, here for internal structure, okay? I can't read anything of what you're saying, but I know that that last word is liquidity. So are you asking, did price run liquidity? So as you can see, this is a zone, right? And this was our last high. So price ran this liquidity before selling. Okay, but we're not going to focus on running liquidity. People take that too far, and then people will start YouTube and run on liquidity, and then they'll get confused. Okay, so we are focused on structure and structure point. Okay, so now we want to see this fib complete, so I'm going to delete this fib, and we're going to zoom back in. And remember, we have our 2 structure points, right? I want to see this major structure point, and I'm going to come back out. All right, this was our low, this was our high, this is our higher low, this is our higher high, this was our higher low, this was our higher high, this was our higher low, this was our higher high, this was our higher low, this was our higher high. Now price is moving internally in between our last very high and then our last higher low. So you see on the inside, we're getting this lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So now we want to see it create another lower low and break this structure to let us know that price is trying to continue lower. All right, and then if you remember, I saw that we had an engulfing candle. I put my entry at 50% of that engulfing candle, and now this would have been a sell limit because price had to buy back into this candle to sell. Okay, a sell stop is if I was to put price underneath this candle and then price runs through that and then activate. Okay, so this is a 14-to-1 trade, so let's let it play out. Only reason why I'm confident in this trade playing out, because if you can see this right here, remember the pullback candles are somewhat indecisive, right? And then when price goes towards the direction, it gets those impulsive candles. So as you can see, now we're starting to get those indecisive candles. Let's see. Right, let's pause it real quick. So we had another fair value gap here, which is why price came back, and then it left us a pin bar, making us think that it was going to continue lower. And then it came back into this candle and looks like it's reversing. Now the thing about this is, if price hit stop loss, it's just a 13 pip stop loss. We can still readjust. But now at this point, we wait. because this is Thursday. So that means you may not get anything. And it'll just be one loss for the week. All right, so stop loss hit. Ooh, stop loss hit. Now this fib is still valid until the 100% breaks, okay? Price came and filled in this imbalance, and I want to see if price hit. This is how I started marking up my order block. So the order block is the up candle before the down move. And I've noticed on order blocks, you will not get a 50% hit like you do on fair value gap. So I have to start just doing a zone. And if price tap that area, this is also supply and demand. Order blocks and supply and demand is the same thing, okay? So when you see price hit the zone, then that is another reaction point. So now price hit this zone and it rejected pretty far, but I don't like how this candle ended. All right, the sell is invalid. Price is back to our order block, still reacting at the order block. So this week overall, because we did not get a break of structure, I'm deleting this so you can see it. This week was consolidation. So that just means price just traded up and down in between these levels. It's been doing it for the whole week, 7 days. So this is why we wait on a break of structure. We didn't get a break of structure to the upside or the downside. So let's come down to the 15-minute. And we will do the same thing on the 15-minute to try to catch more intraday trades. On the 1 hour, as you can see, it took a whole like 8 days for that trade. So now we'll come down to the 15-minute so that we can be in and out of trades within a few hours to a day or two at max. Okay, so now we're going to find our 15-minute structure. Okay, so if we're just starting from this area here, right, and this is our Sunday, but although it's Thursday, I'm trying to see if I want to, yeah. So this would be our last high structure point. All right, and then you want to follow it down to the last pullback. Remember, these small candles here is just minor structure. This is what's going on the 1 minute. Okay, so one full move. Now this is our sell structure. Okay, and then price currently just broke this structure to get this high. All right, so now price broke this structure, price is moving up. Now we need a retracement so that we can continue higher. So now this is our impulsive move. This is how you trade inside of consolidation. You come off the higher time frames once you realize where you are in the market, and you come into the lower time frames. Because although it was consolidation, I think it was still 100, 200 pips. No, on GJ, I'm pretty sure it was. And remember, this is Thursday, Friday. This is times when the market is already done most of its movement and it's slowing down. So we're just gonna wait and be patient and then see what happens on Sunday, or just what happens now. All right, price is pulling back. I can add my fib. Remember, this is my low, okay? And this is the full move that broke my structure. So this is my impulsive move. Now I want to see where price is going to pull back to for my TP area. If price pulls back to the 382, TP's at 27. If price pulls back to the 23 like this, that means it's not done. It's going to continue. If price pulls back to the 50, TP's at 27. And then 618, 78, 88, 100, price at 618. So I see a fair value gap here and a order block. So I would prefer for price to pull back to here. But it can pull back into this order block here also. All right, so let's see where price pulled back to. This is Thursday evening, midnight. Oh, got 382. That's it right there. So we got price came back to the 382. It gave me a morning star candle, which is this bearish candle, this doji, and this bullish candle. I take my rectangle. I want to see if price pulls back to 50%. It came a tad bit back to 50%. I wouldn't have been tapped in because I'm gonna set my limit. Okay, but stop loss will be here and TP here if this is the full pullback. Up 50% hit, it just let me in the trade. So now we risk 13 pips. And stop loss just barely got hit. Zoom it in so you can see it. And this is why you have to have a tight spread. But now it's Friday, it's 12:45, stop loss got hit. So now let's see if price is coming to our gap here. Oh, did me dirty. Wait a minute. All right. TP about to get hit. I'm going to delete this and let's see how we could have done better. So one thing we could have done better, right? This is Thursday. And if we look at the time, I did say it was midnight. Okay. Most Asia session entries don't really work out. You want to wait for London and New York. So Asia, we got all of this consolidation. And then this is what everybody's talking about. Liquidity run. We had our two little equal lows, and then price also came back and touched structure. All right, and then we got that exact same candlestick pattern. We got our bearish candle, our doji, our bullish candle, and then price just took off. And this happened during London session, or I think they call that CHF session, because London session technically doesn't start until 3 a.m. So let's see if it pulls back. Although this is Friday, let's see if it pulls back into this gap and do a retest on this trend line for an entry. That's TP hit. Although we didn't catch it. All right, let's see if we get a pullback into the gap. It's now officially London session. Price hit 50% of the gap. And then TP will be back to the 27 and stop loss will be here. Came back to the structure point and gave an extremely thin bar. This is why we wait. This is why we wait. This is why I stopped setting limits, especially on GJ. So this pin bar, this extreme pin bar, and then price hit. This was our breaker structure. It retested our breaker structure again. And it's Friday market open now. And the market is about to reverse. This is why you gotta leave Fridays alone. Be done with Friday. Okay. All right, so we missed that impulsive trade that week. Remember, we came down to the 15-minute after we saw that price didn't break our consolidation. Now I want to see if price has broken our consolidation. Remember, this was our last high point, and it just broke our last high point. Now this might be when price is really going to. This is why every part plays a part, a major part. So this is our new breaker structure that we're marking. When we get off of here, I'm gonna walk it off from the beginning because I need to know all of my full structure. Okay, going back to the 15-minute though, because gosh darn it, why did I let that play? This is Monday. All right, and these are our external structure points. We get up on top of here, price break and retest, we know that we're really in a buy. We get up under here, we know that we're really in a sell. Right now, price is still moving sideways on our higher time frame. Okay. So now our new weekly structure points. This is Sunday. This happened. That's Sunday. Friday, price turned around and sold. So our internal structure point is here because it took us down to our new low because price broke that last low. Okay. Price broke that last low and then it's turned around, letting us know that it wasn't trying to make a lower low. So now it's Monday and this becomes our new impulse. We need to get on top of here though. We needed to fully get on top of here because otherwise this is still just a pullback in this. And then there's a fair value gap here. This is FXCM, but I'm back testing, so you won't be able to find where I'm at in the market. All right. Now, knowing what I know and what should happen, this line up here was still my last overall high, right? Price is making internal lows. If this doesn't break and retest to go higher, then this was just a pullback for this move to go lower. At some point, it gotta let us up in here. I'm pulling my fib out just to see if it gave me any type of retrace. And remember, we got a little pullback here. Price came to the 23.6, which let me know that price is continuing. All right, now this is where I am stuck on internal structure. I want to see real quick. Did this fib finish? So over here, I'm trying to see if this fib over here finished, because this was an impulse, this was a correction, this was a continuation. All right, price pulled back to the 618. We didn't get a 618 hit, which is why I was wondering if this is going to be lower on a sell versus buying. Hold on. I'm just gonna mark my 618 line up. Okay. So I saw that price came to this fair value gap. Now, this is one of those instances where I don't want to wait for price to come back down here, because technically I don't have a break of structure. I just have a run on liquidity. Okay, I don't have a break of structure. Let me know that price is going higher because it did not reject any of my structure points. It did come to my fair value gap, but it's not giving me, well, yes it did. It gave me an evening star, okay, which was this bearish candle. I'm sorry, this bullish candle, this doji, this bearish candle, but it didn't give me 50% entry. I like to wait for 50% entry, but I have to figure out when to enter when price doesn't give me 50% entry. So let's just say if I was to enter here at this candle close, and then stop loss there, that's a 23 pip stop. Now remember, we're already negative 13 pips, but we were up like 600 pips from that first 8-day trade. But now we're trying to get it to minor structures and catch our moves faster. Okay. So this is a 4-to-1. It's 23 pip stop loss, 94 pip TP.
Is recorded on 2 separate tracks, each one giving special emphasis to certain sections of the orchestra, as heard from those positions. Now, when played back simultaneously on 2 separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension of sound impossible to obtain in our normal recording.
right, so now we adjust. It's Monday, 1 o'clock, and we got stop loss hit. Price has confirmed now because it has broken on top of my structure. It gave me a pullback to the 382, and now it's coming to the 27. I still can't say it has fully confirmed. So this is where I've learned that our higher time frame zones, it takes a little while for those for price to get away from it, and this blue line right here is a higher time frame zone, and this is our first time touching it. And this is why it's easier to trade on the hours, because you know your structure. Here on this lower time frame, as you can see, we're getting a bunch of breaking structures, but overall, if we zoom out, it's still an uptrend. So this is where I'm going to be practicing a little bit more. I've been practicing on the hourly, and this is why I have multiple pairs that I trade, because when we're on the hourly, you see how it was in a trend and then it started to go into consolidation. I want to be able to trade inside of that consolidation and when it's not a trending market, because 9 times out of 10 it's not a trending market more than it is a trending market. Okay, so we're going to play this one out though, and I want to see what happens when we get back to this area. It's Monday now. Monday, this is Monday Asia session. Still Asia session. Price reacted to this inversion right here, this gap right here. That's what this purple line was. And it is continuing to move. So I can still use this same fib. Price came back to the 23.6. It still let me know that it's going. And it is going, and it's finally broke our hourly structure. All right. So remember overall, this was our impulsive move. We was trying to see if price was going to come back and then continue this move. Price decided that it still wanted to make higher highs and higher lows, and now it's finally broke our last high. So we should continue into this uptrend. Ah, some of these comments trick a community. Okay, ain't no trickery about me, baby. I don't lie. I ain't got time for it. That's why I'm here on live doing it for free. Are you paying me? No. Trick who? Alright, so let's run this fib back. We got our in post. This was a small correction. Alright. Price corrected to 382. It continued to the 27. It gave another pullback. You just move your fib up because remember, this is the internal impulsive move. So price pulled back to the 23, is retesting this inversion. The 23.6 just says continuation. Backtesting. If you ever backtested, you would know. It says continuation. Okay, so now we're just waiting for our pullback. This was another one, 23.6, continuation. Price is going to continue higher. All right, then we'll just continue to move our zero up on our fib. All right, we have a gap here. I want to see if price reacts here at this gap, and it did. Okay. What day is this? This is Tuesday. We got our other breaker structure. This was still one big impulsive move. Price pulled back into this gap. Now, this really isn't a full 50%, but it is a 382. So if this is a correct entry, then TP is at the 27. Okay, so price pulled back to our fair value gap. It rejected our fair value gap. It gave us a morning star plus 50%. So then here we would have had another limit in. And remember, we're two trades down. One was 15 pips, one was 13 pips. And this is TP. Stop loss below here. 27 pips stop loss. So we're down 28 pips, but we were up 400 and something from that hourly trade. All right, so now we're going to test this one because I'd rather get in the move than miss the move. It can pull back some more, but right now price is showing me, well, I say right now price is showing me that it's bullish, right? But then I just took a look at my chart and what's here. That hourly structure point. This could have been a run on liquidity. What I don't want to see now is price come break this structure and then decide that it wants to come lower. So we're going to let it play out and we're going to see what happens because this is Tuesday. Where's my fib? My fib was here. I didn't put it further up because this was where's my capsule? I lose that every time. This was my full impulsive move. Although we had these small corrections on the inside, all of these came back to the 23 and then this one came back to the 27. So TP was hit. Then this was the 23. So now this is my full impulse move. And this is showing me here that this is my correction. Price came back to the 382, so TP is 27 on the fib. It could continue higher, but I don't care to guess. I want my TP to hit and take me out the trade. That's fine. It was. I'm going to delete the fib real quick. Now remember, I marked that structure up and I stopped myself because I was like, where are we? This was that last structure point, that last high. Price broke the structure. It came back to this gap. Of course, we want to see it continue. Price hit our stop loss, and now it came and broke our structure. Now, this is where we want to see if price is going to come lower, right? Or is this just a deeper pullback on this fib? Because remember, the fib can come all the way back here, all the way back to 100%. Okay. Yeah, back testing all the way back to 100% and still buy up. But let's see what's happening. So we got a lower time frame break of structure. I don't see, I see a fair value gap here, which price already reacted to. So I'm not sure where price is going to pull back to. So let's see what happens. All right, so it pulled back to this fair value gap here. This is why I marked them up, because you get these movements and then you can look and be like, oh, it's a gap here, that's why it's stopping or it's pausing or whatever. You see it rejected it some and then it impulsively broke through. So now we want to see it break this high. You see what I mean about these pullbacks? So we put our fib back on here. Price came to the 618, so now we're targeting here. And I'm looking to see what was more enticing about this pullback, that price decided to buy from this area versus buying from this area right here, which was the 382. So we did have an order block here. This down candle before this up move. Price came lower than the order block. So this is the bottom of our lower order block. Price ran that, but it didn't run this area. This would have been just something where I would have been like, okay, I got stopped out here. Of course, we're looking for price to come lower. And now we're just waiting to see what happens. Price gave us another morning star. We didn't get 50%, but this was a really bullish morning star. Now, I would have saw this inversion here, and I would have preferred for price to have touched this inversion for me to get in for a buy. So this one is just going to be one where we watch out. Weekly highs and lows, but right now we're just looking at structure only because we're back testing, so I don't want to mess up the back test jumping from time frame to time frame. So right now we're just going off of structure alone, and I'm trying to learn 15-minute structure. All right, so these candlesticks are showing us some exhaustion back in this. It didn't even hit the gap. This is an order block here. This down candle before the up move, but that exhaustion was higher than 50%. This was last year. I don't think you was at this part. We're back testing. I'm not even in 2025. All right, so we want to see price. Remember, we want to see it get up to the 618. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm still going to be trading structure on the hourly time frame, but on my YouTube as the week go by, we're going to be live testing the smaller time frame so that we can catch these moves on the 15-minute. So this was the 15-minute move. Price hit the 618. Price should be rejecting. As you can see, I thought my entry was here. Price pulled back a little further, and I guess one thing that I could have taken away from this to let me know to get in, price did not break this area. It just gave another higher low. Okay, so this is the full minor structure move. This one move was an impulse. This was the correction, and then we get in for the continuation for our money. All right, so since you notice that price came near the last low, okay, but it didn't close the last low. It rejected the 618, and it gave us a morning star pattern. Then just get in at the high of that one because GJ moved so aggressively, it did not come back to the 50%. The only thing about your entry being here, your stop loss is kind of wide, but it's still fine as far as risk to reward rise. Okay, so stop loss would be at that last low. It was a 3-to-1, 53 pip stop loss with 211 pip TP. and it took 15 hours versus waiting all day on the other one. So I'm gonna delete this chart real quick, and we're gonna come to the hourly. Okay. And on the hourly, this was the impulsive move. This was the pullback. That was your break of structure. Price came back, retested the break of structure. This was the low of your fib. This was the high of your fib. This was your entry. So this is why it's a lot easier to catch it on the hourly. Your structure looks a lot cleaner on the hourly versus all of that up and down on the 15 minute. So I'm definitely going to do more back testing on the 15 minute as our upcoming weeks happen, and I trade live on YouTube. My market is from market open to market close. My YouTube is running live all week, and it will be on the hourly because I will be taking my trades on the hourly. I trade GJ, EJ, UJ, Gold, GU, and EU. There are 6 pairs that I watch because, as you can see, there are phases in the market. Okay. There's impulsive phase, there's trending phase, and then even inside of the trending phase, there's consolidation. Because remember, this was that 1 week that we was on. 5 days. Price did not trade. Just look at this one block. This one section was 5 days, and price did not make a new high or a new low. So that was consolidation, okay? So I am going to download this and add this to the YouTube. This is our first back testing session. I am done for the day. Thank y'all for joining my live. I will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. Just click my name. That's my alarm telling me to get off. Just click my name and then tap the notification bell, and it'll alert you when I'm live. And you can go ahead and click the link in my bio and follow my YouTube, where I'll be live on Sunday, 5 p.m. on YouTube. I'm not sure what time here tomorrow. All right, guys, have a good evening.